We're talking about slumps, baby. We've all been in a slump before. Maybe you're in one right now, or maybe you're gonna save this video for a different time, but we've all been there. So I'm gonna give you guys 5 tips to get out of your book slump, and then at the end of the video, I'll give a few recommendations that helped me get out of a reading slump. The first tip or thing that I wanna talk about is book pacing. Now, I'm gonna say this so many times in this video, but fast-paced books are the best way, for me, to get out of a slump. I feel like a slump usually starts when you're not liking a book, maybe you aren't in the mood for that specific genre, or you may find a book is boring. It puts you in this down place. Finding a short, fast-paced, a book with like multiple BOVs is really helpful. There are like really pretty, flowery written, extra whimsically books that you can read, and I think those are great. Those are really wonderful books, but when you're already in a slump, I think picking up something a little bit simpler, something that doesn't require a lot of brain work is gonna be your best bet. And some of the books that I'm gonna recommend later in this video are definitely fast-paced. Now, this next tip is gonna be super simple. Okay, and I'm sorry it's so simple, but half of you guys probably aren't doing it. Read something that you actually want to read. Now hear me out. Okay, we're all like, yeah, I read books that I want to read, why wouldn't I? But I think sometimes we can kind of get swept up into a trend or maybe a genre and we're kind of just stuck in that rut. I think trying something new, but trying something that you genuinely want to read. Some of you guys might have TBR carts or TBR lists or no plan at all, but sometimes it's nice to just scratch those lists and TBRs and just say, okay, what am I in the mood to read right now? You may not know exactly what you want to read, but here's what I do when I'm mood reading. I have 3 to 5 books in front of me. I close my eyes and I randomly pick a book. If I pick up that book and open my eyes and it's not a book that I want to read, then that's not what I'm in the mood for. And that's mood reading for you. And a little side tip within this one, if you have a 5-star book that you've read before and you loved it, reread it. It'll get you motivated and back into the mood for reading. And because you already know you love it, you're bound to love it again. The third tip is gonna be buddy reading. You could find a friend in person, you could do it with your spouse, or you can do it online. You can find someone here on BookTube or Bookstagram. Having someone to talk and communicate about books that you're passionate about or books that you're wanting to read, but you don't know if you want to read them, or books that you're really liking, like it's nice to kind of get those feelings out. All of the introverts are probably turning off the video right now because y'all are like, no, I'm not talking to people. You don't have to. Find someone online, find a book club, find a group of people that you could talk to about it online. That's the great thing about the internet. You don't have to be face-to-face to anyone to talk about these books. Speaking of a book club, I have to tag my own. Patreon is linked in the bio. I post on there very frequently, and that's actually the outlet I use for when I want to talk about books. The 4th tip is going to be audiobooks. Despite what some people say, audiobooks do count as reading. Audiobooks are actually what got me back into reading a few years ago. When you don't have the time to sit down, or maybe you're not in the mood to read and you just want something to listen to, like a podcast, or maybe while you're driving, you're bored and you want something to listen to, doing laundry, cooking, chores around the house, having an audiobook available really helps you get back into the groove of reading without actually physically reading. And the biggest tip that I would say, because I've become really picky with audiobooks, is find a narrator or two that you really enjoy the voice of. There are some romance narrators that I do not enjoy the voice of, so I will not listen to their books. Now, again, that is completely preference, so find a narrator that you can listen to without cringing or disliking their voice, or maybe certain characters that they do or you don't like. Find a narrator that you like. My 2 favorite narrators are Elizabeth Evans, who narrated Throne of Glass. I feel like her voice is very neutral, and I didn't find that she put on a show or kind of acted her way through different characters, which I really enjoyed. And Julia Whalen, who I read a lot of historical fiction from, and I've enjoyed her books so much. More of the popular narrators, but I really enjoy them, and I find that I can get through an audiobook without cringing. And lastly, it's okay to be in a slump. You will get out of it. These days it can be tough to watch your favorite booktubers, influencers, bookstagrammers and think, am I doing enough? Or am I reading enough? Is my goal high enough? Do I have to be reading more or less? Just do you. We had some technical difficulties, but I'm back. Let me give you guys those recommendations, okay? Any computer, camera stuff, I'm useless with. useless. I'm 25 years old and I can't figure out my own camera. Okay, let's get into those recommendations. I have three book recommendations for you. First, I'm going to start out with one that I haven't even finished yet. And listen, I know that's kind of cheating. It's like, Maddie, you haven't even finished the book. What if you hate it? I'm 60% in and I started it yesterday. Like, I have not put it down. And it's Play Along by Liz Tomford. Because every single one of her books I'm obsessed with. This one specifically is about Isaiah and Kennedy. Isaiah and Kennedy have kind of, let's say, worked together for a little bit. Isaiah plays baseball and Kennedy is his athletic trainer, or the athletic trainer for the team. There's a fake marriage involved. And Isaiah is the best version of a simp there ever could be in a book. It's different with him. I have never felt this way about a book boyfriend before. I haven't had a 5-star in about 2 months, almost 2 months. And I think this one, it's already given me 5-star feelings. So I absolutely recommend it. Now the next one is another romance. This one last year actually did help me get out of a slump. So I think it was last June to September, July to September, I had 0 5-stars. And for me, I just kept reading books that I wasn't really wanting to read. I was reading popular books and books that other people were telling me to read, but I was like, you know what? No. In this reading vlog right here, I went on a journey to find a 5-star book, and I finally was like, I need to pick a book that I want to read. Why am I reading all of these books that are just popular or have good ratings? Like, let me just, what do I know? And I know I love Mariana Zapata. She's not failed me yet. Quite literally, I don't think I've ever rated anything lower than 4 stars with her, and Wait for It by Mariana Zapata got me out of a slump. I do want to reiterate, Mariana Zapata is known for her slow burn romances. And at the beginning of this video, the first tip that I talked about was find a fast-paced book. Mariana Zapata, it's slow, but it is so worth it. Like, she's probably the only slow book I could ever read to get out of a slump and actually make it out of the slump. And the last book, it's not really a book actually, it's an author, and it's Frida McFadden, because her writing, her mystery thriller psychological books are so palatable and easy to get through. They are fast-paced because most of her books have very short chapters, which I enjoy. And it's just like, oh, let me read one more chapter. Nope, I can read one more. I can read one more. You just keep reading and reading and reading her books. And I just finished the 3rd book in the Housemaid series, and I think it's The Housemaid is Watching is the 3rd one. Loved it, finished it in like a day and a half. You know, people say that her books are predictable, but sometimes that's what you need when you're in a slump. You just need something that you know you can get through. And me, being the most gullible person literally in the world, I can never predict her books. I love her books. They're just too easy to get through, and it kind of just helps motivate me to get back into the groove of reading. Those are my 3 recommendations. Please, please, please promise me that if you are in a slump right now, you're gonna try out one of these 3 books, because I promise they will help you get out of a slump. I will see you guys in the next video. Check all of my links down below. I have an Etsy shop where I make bookish merch with embroidered sweatshirts and t-shirts and some stickers. And I also have a Patreon book club if you are someone who is looking for friends to read with.